What's up, Hoop Reporters? It's your boy Manny here as we get ready for another edition of the Hoop Report, the NAIA Women's Basketball Podcast, Episode 11, Part 7. Lex, I got the numbers right. I know I did. I double-checked. I triple-checked before we started.
About time.
Episode 11. Sorry, guys. Got the episodes mixed up. We record sometimes in advance, so I forget. It happens. All right? It happens. But I know I got the part right. Episode 11 now, Part 7. Red River, Cal Pac. It is now your turn to get previewed, and we talk about a lot of things here. I think this conference is due for a shakeup. You coined it before we started recording. I'm going to give you the credit. It is going to be the shakeup conference. I'm giving you, again, you're hitting 3 in a row. You're batting 1,000, dog. You've hit 3 straight conferences in a row. I think you've nailed it every single time, so I'm going to give you the flowers for that one. The shakeup conference is the name of the game for this Red River, but tell me and tell the people at home, Darlex's thoughts. Where did the shakeup conference come from? Why is there a specific spot there's a shakeup conference? Why is it the shakeup conference for you this year?
When you look at the contenders of the conference, you see there's a lot that's going to have to be made up. There's a lot that's being lost. And when you look at the playoff locks, if you will, the teams that aren't so much on the top, but they're comfortable in their playoff seedings, and everybody besides the top 3, realistically, they're losing very little to nobody on their rosters. And if it is a big loss, it's a loss that they're making up that we already know of. Like, we already know what their outcome is and how they bounce back from what they're losing. And with that, it can definitely cause the rankings as far as what the Red River Conference was last year to be completely different. Like, I already have the top 3 not being the top 3, and we'll kind of dive into that as we go a little more into it, but it's a mess.
A mess is the word. And nice little segue over there for the first question. But before we get to that first question, we do have to talk about the standings from last year. A little quick recap for the Red River Conference. LSU Shreveport, Xavier, LSU Alexandria, Texas A&M San Antonio, Houston, Tilston, Louisiana Christian, Southwest, and Paul Quinn were your playoff teams in the Red River Conference tournament. Texas College, Texarkana, North America, Arlington the Lake, Jarvis Christian were outside looking in. UNT Dallas at the bottom there. They will be joining the Red River. Congratulations to UNT Dallas from the Sooner Athletic Conference. You also see there your national teams, top 3 in the conference, LSU Shreveport, Xavier, and LSU Alexandria. You also see there Houston, Tilston, and Paul Quinn will no longer be a part of the Red River going into this next season. So very interesting to see how that's going to shake up the conference as a whole. Recap for the postseason awards. Congratulations to everybody that was first team, second team, honorable mention, postseason award specific winners, coach of the year, player of the year, defensive player of the year, and newcomer of the year. And a special congratulations to LSU Shreveport, who won the regular season and conference tournament champions. Like Lex talked about, first question is going to be, who out of the top 3 concerns you the most? Then we're going to talk about who out of the next 4 are going to benefit from the shakeup that we are talking about, and we're going to deep dive into. And where does UNT fall in the rest of the conference now that I don't think they're going to be a bottom team off the rip? They might be, but I don't think they're going to be your typical bottom team. And then, of course, our way too early tiers predictions. Lex, question 1. It was the first question that came into my mind after those 3. Like, once I went through these 3 teams, it was very obvious that we had to talk about these specific teams in their own situations. LSU-A, Xavier, and LSU Shreveport. There's a reason I went in that order from 3 to 1, because we're going to start with LSU-A. LSU-A, the Generals last year, they made the national tournament, 9th seed in their quadrant, lost in the first round. Second appearance in the national tournament. The recruiting class is great. We're going to talk about the recruiting class because there is a key name in there that I know is going to blow your mind. But talk to me about this team, about what they're coming back, what they're losing, because in my opinion, they're probably returning the best core out of these 3. Not to say there's any big names in the sense of what they're putting up last year, but just from a continuity standpoint, they definitely have the best returning group.
Starting off with LSU-A, they're returning a young core with Justice Young, unintended, Reese Stevens, and Alexis Dyer. Young puts up 9.7 boards on a very efficient 55% from the field. All of that within just 14 games this past season. They're also bringing back Reese Stevens, 6.2 boards, 2 assists, almost 40% from the field, 30 from 3. Alexis Dyer, 4 points, 3 boards with 42% from the field. That is your young core that you have returning to this LSU-A team. But what you are losing is detrimental, and they can't go ignored. You're losing a Dana Martin Hartwick, first year on conference, 13 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, 38 from the field, 33 from 3. Joe Jones, second team on conference, 12 points, 4 boards, 2.5 assists, 40 from the field, 36 from 3, 80 from the field, from the free throw. You're also losing Benedetta Parachi, honorable mention, 12 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, just about, and 52 from the field. And Amani Gray, 10.7 boards, 2 boards with 38, rounding up from the field. That it's going to be a lot to rely on your young core, a couple of them being freshmen, stepping into their sophomore year, to be able to make up for all conference performances, honorable mention performances with ease.
This LSU-A team, Xavier and LSU Shreveport, when we get to them, they are all losing more all-conference / honorable mention players than they're keeping. That's the type of loss that we're talking about, and that's why the question is, which one are we most concerned about? Because I'm concerned about all 3 teams. Like, let's not get this twisted. I'm concerned about all 3 of these teams in the sense of they might have a step back. Now, there's one team that I'm a little 100%. More concerned about. This LSU-A team is not one of them. They are the least concerned for me, and this is why. Before I talk about, because there's a great point you mentioned about Young, Stevens, and Dyer. A junior, a sophomore, and a sophomore. So we're talking about a young core that's going to probably need a one more. Like, they probably have another level to their game, but they're going to have a really good chance to develop this coming season, each in their own respective way, and I'll get to that in a minute. But their recruiting class, it's up on their website. It's up on their website. You know, the roster is not technically out, but they talk about who they're bringing in this year for their recruiting class. Sydney Pearson, freshman, 1,000 points in her high school career, so she's a bucket getter. That's going to be great because what you're losing is a lot of buckets in, Jones and Martin. Even Parachi in that degree and Gray. Caitlin Baker, another freshman. Leela Lewis, another freshman, a winner in the high school level. Individual awards, team awards, all that kind of stuff. So you're bringing in 3 freshmen. I like that. Young core, being able to build for the future, especially because you can see this might be an opportunity for a lot of these teams to see, you know what, the conference isn't really, teams from behind are going to get better, but the top isn't. They're losing a lot. This might be the year to go out and get those freshmen that you maybe are a little more nervous to get in the past because the other teams are more experienced or whatever the case may be. So that's great and all, but there's a specific name in this recruiting class that I want to highlight. Princess Goff. I looked at that name and I was very confused. I was like, that name sounds familiar. That's because she played on Louisiana Christian last year. She is transferred not only did she transfer within the NAIA, she transferred within the same conference. She's going into her senior year now and is going to be playing for this LSU-A Generals team. What a pickup for them, because she's exactly what they need. Exactly what they need. You're losing a lot of buckets. You're getting the leader in the NAIA in free throws made, meaning she's going to get to the line. She's going to put pressure on the rim. You're getting the 14th ranked scorer in the NAIA. You're getting somebody that on her last team, she led them in points, field goals, threes, assists, and steals. Filling up the stat sheet is longer than the Chick-fil-A line, especially on a Saturday when they realize it's closed on Sundays. She is going to be a plug-and-play player. I do think there's going to be an adjustment to the style of play a little bit, even though she is a great shooter, even though she's able to spread the floor. I do think it's a little bit different than from a Martin Hartwig, from a Jones. Just the way that the LSU-A plays, for the most part, I think is going to be a quick adjustment, but there will be an adjustment for sure. Oh, I forgot to mention, she was 3rd in Player of the Year voting last year. So you just got arguably the best player in the conference, because if I remember correctly, the Player of the Year is not there anymore. I know that for a fact. And I'm pretty sure the second Player of the Year, the second player, the runner-up is no longer in the conference as well. So you arguably have the best player in the conference from the previous year coming to your team. To add in with a Justice Young, who in her 14 games, she had 6 double-figure scoring games, 3 double-doubles, and 5 10-plus rebound games. You have Reese Stevens and Alexis Dyer. Both of them need an offensive lead. I think they both have the ability to get closer to 10 points per game. They both can do it at an efficient rate. I do think Reese Stevens benefits more as a facilitator and as a tempo pusher, but I think she needs to be able to score a little bit more to be that more of a threat and be able to play on the court a little bit longer. She's quick, she's fast, she's very, very shifty in the open court. Just got to get more comfortable with that jumper. Got to get more comfortable with that 3 ball. I think 30% as a freshman, really great. I need to go 35. That should be the next goal going into her sophomore year. And same thing with Alexis Dyer. I think she can be just more aggressive. You're shooting 40% on 4 points a game. Get you some extra, girl. Go ahead, get you some extra attempts. There's gonna be some shot attempts out there for you.
Double digits from all of them.
I think that's very doable for them. I think we can see all conference for sure, obviously, for Goff. I mean, she's been a first-team all-conference member for the past 2 years. I don't see that changing anytime soon. And then I think Reese Stevens and Justice Young and Alexis Dyer, maybe honorable mention for Dyer, but Stevens and Young for sure have all-conference abilities in their game. This team should be a 70-point per game team next year. They were 68 this past year, 68.6. They were right there. You've gotten a great score. You continue to develop your young pieces. You've got even younger pieces. This team should be quick. It should be athletic. It should be an up and down type of style to play, and I'm here for it. And the reason I say 70 is because these next 2 teams that we're about to talk about, they put up 70 respectively, and they were the top 2 teams in the conference.
Very comfortably.
You and I kind of talked a little bit off air from this first question because we were just so eager to get into it. So I know where you stand, and you know where I stand. But that's fine. I'm going to let you take your team. I'm going to take my team. Talk to me about why you are a little more concerned about this Xavier team. Because they just had the best year of their program's history. They were the 6th seed in the NAIA National Tournament. They made it to the round of 16 for the first time. They led at the half against a Southern Oregon team that was undefeated up until the Elite 8. Eventually losing by 7, but still, you had them. You had them. You set the record. You tied the record. For most wins with 29. You upset number 3 William Carey in the NAIA tournament. You earned a top 25 nod in the rankings for the first time in 5 years. Plus, it was the first time that you were a full member of the Red River. You checked every box. Heck of a year. But why are you not confident they can continue this season?
I have this gut feeling that with all of their success that this Xavier team was able to commit to this past season, with them experiencing a lot of firsts, I have a fear, I have a phobia that this season has the potential to be a reality check. Meaning that this past season could have just been and we use this term a lot, but break right. This past season could have just been them breaking right. And from what we know right now, I can confirm that from what we know from their website and the IA website, Red River website, for this year, paper, they have 8 people returning, which means that this recruiting class that they have to bring in, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be heavy. At minimum, it has to be at least 7 people. And that's just baseline. Not even considering the fact that they're losing 2 first-team all-conference members, a newcomer of the year, second-team all-conference member, and an honorable mention. Everybody who helped this Xavier team make that history is no longer here. So there's just a lot of what ifs, genuinely. And I don't see them breaking right again.
I get it. I get it. I understand it. You're not wrong. Nothing he said is incorrect. But you know me. I am the emotional one of the 2 of us. We know this. If you guys haven't figured it out, we're 11 episodes deep. We are 7 parts deep into our conference preview series. If you haven't figured it out yet, Lex is the logical one. I'm the emotional one. I'm the one I'm just here for it. I'm here for the story. I'm here for the cinema that this Xavier team did last year. I'm here for the sequel. You know what they say? The sequel isn't always better than the first. I get that. I understand that. And honestly, my basketball brain is saying, out of LSU Shreveport and Xavier, I should go with LSU Shreveport to be the better team right now. September 4th, we're recording this. But I'm not going to, because I just feel like when you have the emotional ride that you had last year, you don't want to lose that. I think the coaching staff found out, or even if they did break right, you broke right doesn't mean you have to break left now. Keep breaking right. Go out and find the same players. I think they're going to go out. I think the number you said is a good number. I think 7 is a good number to bring in if you already have 8 on the roster. I do think they can do that ability because of what they did last year. Now your selling pitch is a lot better. Like, look at what we just did.
You can only break right so many times.
I get that. But
3 rights put you back in the same spot.
You're right. But all I need is 1 right and 2 rights, because now I ain't breaking right no more. I'm just going straight. I'm going straight down the street. Everything you said is right, and I'm not disagreeing with any of that. But I need you to understand, you know it. I've said it a lot. This game of basketball is probably the most emotional and mental sport out there. I'm going to say it. I know there's a lot of sports out there. I'm not knocking any sport, but I feel like basketball from a mental standpoint, if your mental is just on a different level, you're gonna be out of. I like to say they play out of body. They're gonna be an out of body experience on their play style now. That is what I'm banking on. I am banking on it. I think they've tasted success. They don't want to go back. Do I think they're going to do what they did last year? Do I think they're going to have 29 wins, almost 30 wins in a season? Do I think they're going to go to the round of 16 again? Do I think they're going to compete with a Southern Oregon again? Probably not. I'm not saying that. But I do think they're going to be a continued playoff team that when that time comes, it's going to be a tough out for anybody that they play against. Segue that over to LSU Shreveport. These two teams are very similar. They're very similar. Because you talked about what Xavier losing. I'll talk about what LSU Shreveport is losing. They're losing Salma Marski, a first team all conference member, 12 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 40% from the field, 33% from the 3-point line. Helena Gualnik, second team all conference member, 12, 7, 3 assists, 46% from the field, 36% from the 3-point line. And then Aaron Williams, a honorable mention with a DPOY now in her room, 7-3 with 3 steals a game. They're losing, maybe not as much as Xavier, but just about. Now, you are bringing back Paula Gonzalez Herrera, second team all-conference member, 11-4 with 3 steals on 44, 34, and 84 from the free throw line, including 17 double-figure scoring games with 420 balls in a 2010 game. I get it. I
think that's all you need.
And you're right. You probably are right, and I'm not against that. But, and I know you can agree with me, because I'm going to use your same point you just said. You can only break right so many times. LSU Shreveport is the 2-time defending Red River Conference Tournament champions. They are the reigning regular season champions. They were the 5th seed last year in the national tournament. They lost in the first round of the national tournament. You can only break right so many times. I'm not saying they're a break right team, don't get me wrong, but
that's not breaking right.
They're not breaking right. But my point is they're not breaking right, but my point is they're going to eventually come back down. You can only stay at the mountaintop for so long. This might be the year. One of these two teams is coming back down to earth, relatively speaking. Now, do I think either team is going to miss the postseason? No, I'm not going that far right now. I'm not saying that. But can you agree with this? Just like we say with every recruiting class team, both of these teams are recruiting class teams. No one is going to sit here and say that's going to be coming from in-house. You got to go out and find 100%. People to get back to what you were. Both these teams are, when they figure it out, not if, because they will figure it out. Both these teams put up 70 points per game and held their opponents to under 60. Which of these two teams are you banking on doing the same thing, or at least closer to it? Maybe they don't get the exact marks of 70 and under 60, but they get pretty close to it. Let's say they get to like 68 and 62, something like that. Which of these two teams are you banking on? Not from the players, just what's your gut feeling telling you for LSU Shreveport or Xavier?
My gut feeling is telling me that LSU Shreveport is more likely to do that than Xavier.
I need to know why. What is it? Because I'm looking at the stats. 23 forced turnovers by LSU Shreveport. I get that. Xavier had 21. 21 opponent points for Xavier. LSU Shreveport, they were forcing 10 steals, which I'm going to give them about 20 points right there. 72 for LSU Shreveport, 73 for Xavier, 58 for Xavier, 53 for LSU Shreveport. Like, there's a lot of similarities here. Why LSU Shreveport?
Paula Gonzalez Herrera will have a player of the year type of season. And stamp that. Call it the Kool-Aid, call it whatever you want. But I feel like she, as you know, with this LSU Shreveport team, they know what it's like to win. She's seen what it's like to win. She's experienced that, and she's seen that from the back pocket. She has just as much drive, just as much skill, just as much tenacity to be able to keep up with the big dogs that have ran that program for however many years. Now it's her turn. She's hungry. She wants it. Transparently, I feel like she was first team all conference worthy. And I feel like she knew that as well. So saying that second team next to her name and put a chip on her shoulder. Leading into the year, I feel like she jumped to a 15-5, 3 steals, and pushing closer to a 50-40-90 split. And if that happens, I need you to look into my eyes when I tell you this. If that happens, not only is she player of the year, but this just proves everything that I said. And then, well, I'll make this bet on air.
I'm so glad. I was going to say this.
You have to go ahead and get LSU Shreveport.
Don't finish that.
Tatted on your wrist.
That is not happening. That is not happening. Not happening. I will put a public apology. That's what for LSU Shreveport is what I'll do. That's what I'll do. I ain't gonna get. Boy, you done lost your mind. But I'm here for it.
You make an apology with a nice bucket challenge following it.
All right, we'll talk about that. But if that's the case, then I'm gonna need some of these bets that I've already put up. I put up like 2 or 3. Yeah, and I don't hear no punishments yet. So maybe we're gonna have to figure out. Maybe it's just have for every bet we get wrong, ice bucket. We're just gonna add them up. I think that's what we're gonna end up doing.
That's fair.
But again, I do think, in all seriousness, we both agree these 2 teams are the 2 teams out of the top 3 that we're most concerned about, just because of what they're losing. They're losing a lot, and it's either going to come from in-house, like you said, with the Gonzalez Herrera, or from a recruiting class like Xavier is probably going to need to find that next thing. And we'll see what it is. Now, looking at their schedules, because both of their team schedules are up, I'll give you this nod. I do think LSU Shreveport's schedule is built better in the sense of the competition of their non-conference slate, because they've got Texas Wesleyan to start the season. We've talked about the Rams. We like them. We're really, really high on them in their respective conference. Then we're going to go over to Loyola. I talked about the Wolfpack. Y'all know how high I am on that Wolfpack team. They're legit. They got a big 3. Stamp it, seal it, whatever you want it. And then you've got College of Ozarks, Mid-America. And then you open up your conference slate against Texarkana, Texas College, and Jarvis Christian before LSU-A. I think that conference slate by December 6th, before December 11th when they play at the Generals, it'll give us a good test of where they are. I think it'll give us a good idea where they are. I think their non-conference schedule, in my opinion, you've got 3 ranked teams. I think Loyola, College of Ozarks, and Mid-America Christian will all be ranked in some order when the polls come out. And then Texas Wesleyan might be receiving votes. They might be on the top 30 teams in the country. So I think they set themselves up.
If they come out of that over 500, they're repeating.
Honestly, I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at that take, because that's a heck of a non-conference into your conference schedule. I think that's the way coaches like to build it. For Xavier, it's a little less of the top teams, and you do have a Life and a Bruton Parker, and they're great. They're good teams. Don't get me wrong. They're good competitive teams, and I think it shows them more so of we want to make sure that we have everything together, because I think they're still favored in those games, even though we don't know the recruiting class. Maybe Bruton Parker might be a little bit more leaning toward Bruton Parker, but it's a good non-conference slate to get themselves going. Then they open up their conference slate against North American, North Texas Dallas, Southwest, Our Lady of the Lake, Texarkana, North American again, and then LSU Shreveport, and to me, is probably your first real test, in my opinion.
I agree.
You can get, I think, I'll say this. I need Xavier to have a better record than LSU Shreveport between those 2 dates that we talked about. So by the time LSU Shreveport gets to LSU-A in their schedule, if they're above 500 and Xavier isn't, I'm a little concerned because I do think Xavier has a more favorable schedule. I think they have the more winnable schedule up until that point because then, we get into the thick of it and we'll see what figures it out. Again, these two teams are going to be when they figure it out, not if. They're going to figure it out. We know that. It's just a matter of when they figure it out. We don't know that part yet.
The only thing that I will say that I don't agree with is coaches pick their schedules. They tailor it with a particular need, particular goal.
True.
LSU Shreveport could have the intention of wanting a challenge to develop themselves to the competition that they're going to experience within the conference throughout the year. From what it looks like, Xavier's schedule can be tailored with a purpose of giving the recruiting class a team that hasn't worked together yet, giving them the ability to figure out the kinks very early on, figure out the areas of opportunity so that they can fine-tune it before they reach those LSU-A teams, before they reach the Texas A&M San Antonios, before they reach the LSU Shreveports,
I can see that. Again, I do think Xavier has the more favorable of the two teams for their schedules.
100%.
But that puts pressure. To me, I think Xavier, there's no reason that you should not be above by 2 games above 500. Like I'm being completely honest with you because I do think, yes, there are going to be some tough games. North America, I think it's going to be a good River Conference team. I think there's a lot of those type of teams in this conference this year because, again, the shakeup is coming. But I still think Xavier should be the favorites going into the season, and I think that they will be. Will they stay the favorites? That's going to be the question. In the end, though, to answer the question directly, Lex's team that he's most concerned with is going to be Xavier. I'm more concerned with LSU Shreveport. We both agree LSU-A to us might be the team to beat. They might be the heist of the century, arguably, with being able to pick up the third best player last year in the Red River Conference to plug in to your team to go along with your young core. They check every box. They've got the coach. They got a possible coach of the year candidate now, or continuing in his tenure. I don't see why LSU-A should not be the team to beat. Do you agree?
I agree.
I'm going to head over now to the rest of the conference. These next 4 teams that we're going to talk about, they're going to be the focus. San Antonio, Louisiana Christian, Southwest, and Texas College. I think we're going to start with Louisiana Christian because we just talked about what they're losing, and they're losing their best player. We're not going to sugarcoat it. Princess Golf, first team all-conference member, 19, 8, 3 assists, 43% from the field. I got to give her the nod down. That's a loss. It's going to be a loss. And to see her putting on another jersey in your conference is going to be an even bigger loss. To be honest, this is another recruiting class team for me. There's another recruiting class team for me. No, I had them in that second question because I did not know of Goff leaving beforehand. Once I did my research and I found that out, I don't think that they are primed for a increase in their standings, maybe get another 5th seed. But do you think it's more of a setback? And when I say setback, I just mean they may still make the playoffs, but they are going to drop in the standings to somebody from behind them.
100%. I feel like they're going to make the playoffs. They probably won't host, but they'll make it.
We are. Do you have any players you're looking at more so this year to really leap into the role that now Goff has left for this Wildcat team?
The only person that I see having the ability to would be Ali LeBlanc. I feel like if LeBlanc can have a pretty big leap, it's not impossible. She would need to basically double her offense while still remaining consistent. Then she could definitely fill in those shoes very easily.
I am glad you mentioned her.
It's just unlikely.
I am glad you mentioned her, though, because she was flirting with a double-double, if we're going to be honest here. She had 9 points with 8 rebounds on 50% from the field and 40% from the three-point line.
Basically a 50-40-90.
If we're being honest here. And then she had 14 double-figure scoring games, a 20-ball, 5 double-doubles, 10 10 plus rebound games. So she has, like you said, she was flirting with those. She maybe gone a little bit more under the radar just because Louisiana Christian didn't win that many games in the Red River. So maybe she should have been a second team, could have had an argument for that case. But again, wins definitely played a factor in that. I'm going to go with Michaela Price. Michaela Price last year, she put up 16 double-figure scoring games. She had 220 balls, 2 double-doubles, and 12 5-plus rebound games. She put up 10, 4, and 41% from the field overall in the year. I think the incoming junior is going to be leaned upon a lot more. I think she should have probably been an honorable mention. And again, bump LeBlanc up to second team, and she gets the honorable mention nod.
100%.
So those two players, I think they could be very, very important, or they will be very important to this team because, especially offensively, defense is going to be a question for sure. I mean, you can't give up 72 points per game to your opponents and expect to be able to win, but you also can't give up 67. I think they could be closer to 70. They should be closer to 70 offensively than they are defensively. I don't think they're going to be a great defensive team. I'm not saying they're going to be able to hold teams like Louisiana, like LSU, Shreveport, and Xavier were, or even LSU-A. But they can be below 70. They can be a 65 opponents' points per game, maybe 64. But they got to get that defense now, and I think they get their offense a little closer to 70.
One of the things that we'll trip on with the next 4 teams is, I think defensively, if you're allowing a team, statistically they are, if you're allowing a team to average out an elite level scoring performance every time they play you, that's a concern.
And again, it always goes back to what we say. If you're scoring 70 plus, you're going to lead offense. Like you said, if you're giving it up, that defense ain't looking so hot right now.
Granted, there are other areas where it does kind of make up for it, but that's a big factor as to why they're 4, 5, 6, and 7 and not 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to take this moment to talk about it before I forget any more. Housekeeping rules. We do not know everybody that is coming into their respective teams. We sent out the coaches Google form. Some coaches got back. Some coaches didn't.
Some and some.
I'm not. He's not. Nobody here is mad at that. We understand you guys are all busy. As you can see, we both found out about golf going to LSU-A, literally doing the research. It happens. We don't know.
I found out 5 minutes ago.
So we're here for the bombshells. A new bombshell has entered the villa. We understand that. Shout out to my Love Island viewers. We understand that. Don't be mad. I know you watched it too. It's okay. But I always do want to let people know.
That's a different episode.
I always do want to let people know that advance so they understand like where we're getting this stuff and not just thinking we're talking just to talk. We do have a little bit of knowledge behind it. And again, Red River, NAIA website, all this type of stuff. We did our due diligence. We're not going to say it's 100% right what we're saying, but we're pretty confident saying it and trying to help you guys prepare for the season. Back to my point. We're talking about the Red River. I'm glad you brought up the defense for these next 4 teams because the next thing we're going to talk about, Texas A&M San Antonio. I'm high on them. The Jaguars, I'm here for it. But before we talk about it, 73 opponents' points per game, 74. Then Southwest, 68 opponents' points per game. And then Texas College, 67 opponents' points per game. All of these teams are within a possession of 70 points. For reference, last year in the Red River, I'm going to give you the top 4 offensive scoring teams in the conference. 75.9 points per game, Texas San Antonio. 73.8, Xavier. 72, LSU Shreveport. And Southwest, 70. 2 of those teams are the teams that we just talked about, I just mentioned. So you're giving up and giving almost the same amount of points per game, which talks about their record and why they were kind of 500 teams. But my point being, your defense has to improve more because you're allowing teams to score the best scoring in the conference. It's just not going to work. It's got to be, like you mentioned, that's the reason that most of these teams were 4, 5, and 6 and not 1, 2, 3. They got to be able to 100%. Increase their defense. All these teams do it. That's a non-negotiable. We're talking a little bit more in depth with it. For the Jaguars, I'm here for them. I get it. I know exactly where you're going to point
100%.
to. I know exactly where you're going to point to. Everybody out there. Natalia Trevino, first Campbell Conference member, player of the year. I get it. You lose her. It's a tough pill to swallow. I understand. It hurts. 18, really 19, 6 rebounds. And then you've also got 3 assists, almost 4 assists with 3 steals. 41% from the field, 34% from the 3-point line. But what you're returning Let me talk to you about that. Evelyn Lorenzo, first team all-conference member. Maya Simmons, second team all-conference member. Emily Caranco and Tamaya Whitman, 14. I'm going to give you 15 and 9, almost really 8, but I'm going to give you guys 9 combined for 30% from the field. And then Talia Andrews, 5-5 with 44% from the field. We're talking about an incoming senior in Lorenzo, incoming senior in Simmons, a sophomore in Emily and Tamaya, and then a sophomore in Andrews. This team is young. This team is experienced now. I do think the defense is going to be the number one thing I'm pointing to. But here's a fun fact for you guys. It was only their second season as a program, and they were able to do this in the second year. They're going to have a good, young, developing core that I'm very, very excited about, and I'm very, very interested to see led by Lorenzo. You gave your player of the year player, I'm going to give you mine. It's Evelyn Lorenzo. She put up 25 double-figure scoring games, 13 20 balls, 2 30 balls, and a double-double. I think she should be a very good contender because of what this conference may look like when the postseason does come around. Are you as high on this Jaguars team as I am? I'm very excited for this team. I think they can do something special. They are my dark horse. They are the team I believe is next in the Red River when we talk about aside from those top 3 teams from last year.
I'm higher than you are, and disclaimer, I do not condone any sort of juggies. Never. But to support his reference here, this team, for one, is my answer to the second question. And for 2, honestly, I want to put them at like number 2 in the conference.
Dog, you are not even ready for it yet. Continue.
The one thing that I cannot ignore is across all boards, the only category that they're winning in comfortably is the amount of turnovers they produce. The gap that every other category in the game of basketball that this Texas A&M San Antonio team has in the last season at least is literally a give and take situation. The reason why they were 4 and not 3 or 2 was because in the last 2 minutes of every game this season, the game stopped. They all went outside, flipped the coin, and they lost half of those coin flips.
I get it. I understand it. And honestly, I'm not mad at it because I went back and looked at their games. For the record, they did finish their season in the semifinals of the Red River Conference Championship tournament. So they were 1 game away from the championship of getting there. I want to point that out there. Half of their losses, they lost 12 games last year. Half of them, 6, were by under 10 points, meaning 9 or less. In those 6 games, their average loss margin or margin of deficit was 4 points. They lost in those games in an average of 4 points, 2 possessions. And you're going to
talk 1 possession and an easy bucket.
You're going to talk about the turnovers. I was going to talk about that too. I'm glad you talked about it because I also want to talk about the turnovers because you cannot get out rebounded 35 to 50 almost. That's way too much.
15 boards.
Way too much. And I don't know how. You're scoring more points than your opponent, but you're shooting less from both the field and 3, and you're getting out rebounded. This team, to me, and it might be why I'm so high on them, they are an enigma. They don't this team does not defy the laws of basketball. There's no way you can be.
Not only are you shooting less, you're shooting worse.
Like, it honestly baffled me, but I'm here for it because, again, I love the stuff that makes no type of sense. And I'm here to say this team's just confusion is going to end up with them being a top 3 seed next year. I 100% believe
that. It scratches my brain in the wrong way, and I hate it.
While people are trying to figure it out, they're out there getting buckets because clearly they play fast paced. They're going to be a very good offense again next year. I don't think they probably will cross 70, maybe not close to 80 like they were this year, but they'll cross 70 again, which again puts them in contention. If you're putting up 70 points per game in the Red River, you're going to be a top 4 team as long as your defense is very good, as we have seen in the past. Now, their schedule is up as well. They got a banger out the gate. First game of the season on Halloween. Talk about a scary game. Providence from the Frontier. That's going to be a great test for them. I'm here for it. I love the tough schedule off rip. Then they've got Montana State Northern, Haskell, another Texas Wesleyan team. They've also got Campbellsville. They've also got Bethel. And then that opens up their Red River Conference slate with OLLU, UNT Dallas, and Southwest. By December 6th, so I gave you Southwest, UNT Dallas, OLLU, Bethel, Campbellsville, Texas Wesleyan, Haskell, Montana State Northern, Providence. Now, we've literally previewed almost all these teams. We're about to preview all those teams except for Haskell because they're going to be in the next episode for the CAC. What's the record? What do you think the record could be for this team? We've got Bethel, Campbellsville, Texas Wesleyan, Providence. You've got Haskell. You've got these teams. Where do you think this record could be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games? 9 games. Where do you think the record is?
Anything over 6-3, I'm giving them the chip.
So you like 6-3, you like them. So if they go 5-4 or 4-5, where are you at with them? Where's the bar at?
Top 2.
Okay, I like it. Again, I do think the Bethel Campbellsville game, that's gonna be a tough one. I do think those are the games that I don't have them favored in. But the other Providence is also probably not their favorite. But the other games, I think they could be at least even with, maybe not the favorite, but they're definitely even in winnable games for sure. So I'm very excited about this San Antonio team. They are my, again, dark horse team to win the Red River next year. Keep an eye on this Jaguars crew because they are legit and they are scary. Going over to Southwestern, I should say. The Mustangs. They've made the quarterfinals last year. They're sneaky. The difference. For me, when I say dark horse, I mean, again, dark horse means you could probably go win this conference. Sneaky, deep playoff run, maybe an upset in the playoffs. Maybe you don't make a run, but you knock off a big dog. I could see that being this Southwestern team.
I could see being this team as well as, and this might upset some people here, I feel like it can be this team as well as LSU Shreveport. 2 teams that may not be definite success stories this season, but 2 teams that will definitely upset a lot of people in a positive way.
Southwestern and the A&M San Antonio team, they can put up buckets. I'm going to let you talk about the bucks that they're going to be getting back because they're going to be returning a senior, and a senior. Yes, 3 seniors that are going to be able to put up buckets with the best of them. They might have a great, smaller, offensively focused big 3 in these 3 seniors. What I want to talk about is the fact that they had 15 losses last year. Out of those 15, 12 of them came 10 or less points. Again, winnable games that just kind of fell away at the end there. They had 2 overtime games. They went 1-1. They also had a triple overtime game that they did lose throughout the season. This team were in a lot of games. It just came down to most likely not getting stops when you needed to get the stops. So again, the defense is going to be the name of the game for all these teams that we're going to talk about. We still have one more team to talk about in the next up category. But talk to me about this Southwestern team and what they're bringing back. Because again, there are a lot of buckets that are going to be coming back through those doors.
In the 12 out of 15, realistically speaking, they let them slip because they give as many turnovers as they get. But that's not what I'm talking about right now. They're bringing back Brianna Montoya, second team on conference, 13 points, 3 boards, 40% from the field, 40% from the 3. I'll round that up where they're also bringing back Karina Ortiz, 9 points, 2 boards, 41% from field, 33 from 3, 80% from free throw. And Haley Brandon, the last senior here, 7.2 points, 3 boards, 40% from the field, actually. Very efficient senior core coming back, all of them touching 40%, shooting easily, which shows shot selection isn't necessarily an issue for this group.
And to deep dive into it, 2 of these ladies in Montoya and Ortiz had at least one 30-point performance. In Montoya's case, she had a streak where she went 5 straight 20-point performance games. She eventually finished with 9 on the season. And then Haley Brandon, she had 8 double-figure scoring games. She might be an underrated all-conference player. I think she's due for a nice little jump here. I think she could get to 10 points, maybe even close to 12 points. I think people are going to be sleeping on her ability to score the ball. And I think she's going to benefit from being the quote-unquote third option, if you want to call her that, for this team. Because, again, I think Montoya is going to be first-team all-conference member. I think Ortiz will be flirting with the second-team honorable mention. And I think Brandon might not get recognized for the postseason awards, but she will have the numbers. And we've seen sometimes you have the numbers, you just don't get. There's just not enough spots on the team, and we understand that.
This is messing with my mind, and you can clarify this as you're the emotional one. That many 20-point games, even a 30 piece, and your average only came out to 13. Something is off.
I mean, I will say to end the season, in the last 5 games of the season, she did have 4 of them be double-figure scoring games. She averaged 14 honestly, in that 5-game stretch. So I see what you're saying. There were some moments, if we picked the season apart for Montoya, there were some stretches where she was putting up 15 points per game, but there are other stretches where she's probably putting up like 10. So I think consistency is going to be her biggest improvement. If she can be consistent, even if it's consistent 12, that's fine. But now there's no 12, 12, 12, 3.
Nah, if you can reach 30, I'm going to need at least a 15 points per game.
I like that too. I think she can do that.
What's scratching my brain incorrectly is for you to reach 30, for you to average out at right underneath 13, you had to have at minimum 2 games. So you had like 6 or 8 points, which is not okay.
I get it. And again, I think she, like I said, that is going to be her next thing. If she's able, when I go back next season and we do the conference previews and she's going to be in the losing part of this Southwestern team, I should see less single-digit games. I need to see a consistent, the lowest number I want to see is 10. Again, you're going to have off nights. You're going to give me a 9. That's fine. I get it. I understand it. But I need
10 points. I prefer you to take 30 shots in that game, but you need to end with 10 points.
Again, Montoya, just blame Lex for that one. Blame Lex for that one. If you start just chucking coach, it was all him. It wasn't her.
If your coach says anything, you know my name. Take the shots.
Last team we'll talk about in the next up category, which I think they have an opportunity. They have an opportunity. I have them here. They're my opportunistic team, a team that can maybe benefit from a nice seeding or a good place in the postseason. Texas College, the Steers. Another team that's returning 3 seniors that are going to be senior heavy this year. Another team that had 3 overtime games in the last 4 games of the season. They went 2-1 in those games. They beat Louisiana Christian back-to-back to end their season. So they had a very good end of the year. I think they had a very good foundational to leap into the offseason and then keep working into this next year. I'll talk about what they're losing, and you can hit on what they're gaining, because they are getting a lot. Kendra Kelly, honorable mention, 10-7 on 36% from the field. Then you've also got a Cream McKelmore, 9, give her 10, 3 rebounds, 33% from the field, and Nakaira Rogers at 6'6", 40% from the field, 37% from a 3-point line. This team put up 60 a game, but they could not be able to hold their opponents to under 66. They were at 69.9. I'm going to have to give them 67. They lost a field goal percentage battle. They lost a 3-point percentage battle. They lost a rebound battle. They won the turnover, but only by 2, and it was 18-20. So it really wasn't a big win for them. This team, I'm excited for them. And again, they're an opportunistic bunch because of what they're returning. And again, I'll let you touch on what they're returning because they are going to have a good core. But there still needs some holes that they need to be plugged. And I don't even think they can be plugged with the Band-Aid. I think we got to really harp down, especially on this defense. You cannot give up almost 7 more points to your opponents on every given night. With that being said, talked about the bright spot for what this Steers crew is going to be bringing back this year.
I think this Steer crew might need to be sponsored by Flex Seal to be able to help fill in the gap just a little bit, just because a Band-Aid isn't going to do it. They are returning, though. Tyler Pryburn, second team all conference, 20 points per game, 8 boards, 2 steals on a very efficient 44% from the field. Tiriana McNary, 6 points, 5 boards, 43% from the field. Nene Stewart, 6 points, 3 boards, 25% from the field. They are bringing back a very solid senior bunch that can help lead this team to be a very upsetting team in the most positive way. This could be the team that you look at your schedule, you feel like you don't have to prepare to play them, but they beat you, and they give.
I like
you
the way you said that.
call.
I like that you bring that up. I agree completely with that. I think this team, led by Pryburn, who should be a first. I think she'll be second team for sure. Like that's the floor for her. Putting up almost 20 a night. Again, she had 22. I'm gonna say it again. 22 straight double-figure scoring games to end the season. 8 of them were 20 balls. She put up 26 points per game in that 20-plus game stretch. The girl was a bucket. There's some people who are just buckets, and they're going to be buckets. On that note, that Flex Seal joke might have been the best one you've had all offseason, so I got to give you props for that one. We need to keep track of these things because they're really just going to be flying out there. But
that one probably flew over a lot of people's head.
And maybe, who knows? It shows how old we are, or I guess how old we are. But talking about Pryburn, also said 7 double-doubles. She only had 2 games where she had less than 5 rebounds. The girl was everywhere, especially on the rebounds and the scoring department. So I think she's going to be able to, for sure, have second team all-conference type of year. Can we get the first team? It's a matter of wins, in my opinion.
Yeah, she only got second just because of where they placed.
Absolutely.
100%.
As for McNary and Stewart, both of them had 5+ double-figure scoring games. Both of them flirted with double-doubles. In McNary's case, she actually got one, and she was really good on the rebound as well. In the last 4 games for her, she put up 13 points per game. So again, ending the season very well. How they start is my question. Before I continue, though, I did forget to mention for the Southwestern team, they do have their schedule up. Only have 5 non-conference games before they open up their Red River against UNT and Our Lady of the Lake, as well as Texas San Antonio. Could be a good test for them. Young team. I'm not shocked that their non-conference slate is a little light, but they're more focused on the conference, and I completely understand that. But I wanted to give them their moment there because they do have their schedule up. But again, back to Texas College, they're a young team. Or not young team, but they're going to be senior heavy, but they're going to be treated like a young team, like you mentioned. I feel like they're going to be overlooked sometimes, and if you do that, they could, again, upset someone in the seedings. Maybe they slide into they might be one of those bottom playoff team that you don't want to play against. There's some teams in your conferences. Every conference has that one team where like they're not going to be a top seed, but you don't want to play them in the first round because they could get hot or they could figure it out, or they just might be a bad matchup problem. You never know. If you have a 20-point per game score, you could just be a bad matchup problem for everybody.
This team, and I'm removing all conference when I say this because I can't lock this in, but I would not be shocked at all. And if I had a parlay and this was right in my face, I'd hesitate on betting it, but who knows?
That's a bold take. And I guarantee you that parlay you're talking about, it's definitely like, you bet 1, you're going to get 1,000 because that's not going to be on everybody's. That money line is not going to be that.
Do you know what time it is right now? It's Black Friday. Come on.
Not sponsored, by the way. Not sponsored. Anyways, back to the Red River Conference. Again, those are the 4 teams that we feel like are in that next up tier. Both Lex and I are going to go with Texas San Antonio just because we like what they're bringing back. We like what they did last year and only year 2. I think they're going to just elevate one more, and they have the smallest holes. All 4 of these teams have holes that they got to plug in, but they have the smallest holes to need to plug in. They don't need Flex Seal. They might get away with a Band-Aid, at least for next year. Now we're going to talk about the rest of the conference. We got Texarkana, we got North American, then we've also got UNT Dallas, Jarvis, and Our Lady of the Lake. We're going to start, though, with UNT Dallas because that is kind of the question focused for number 3. Where do they fall in the rest of the conference? The reason I say that, I don't think UNT Dallas is going to be your typical new team to the conference, bottom tier team, but we'll see. Last year, they were in the SAC. the Trailblazers, they could have an exciting year one. Do you believe this team can go for their first year just smack dab in the middle of the conference, not the top? Not even saying make the postseason, but could they be the first team out of the postseason this coming season?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Why is that?
Based off of the information that we have, which would be how they performed last year, if they were to mimic that.
You love this mimic stuff, don't you?
In this conference, they would need a miracle, a year's subscription of flex tape, and some Kool-Aid to break top 10.
So you got them out. You got them out.
Not out. I'm just saying, based off of what we have, if statistically, if their schedule fell the same way that it was last year and the outcome was the exact same in this conference here, they're 10-11 realistically.
Okay. I mean,
in
again,
the grand scheme of things.
I don't think that's a crazy take. And again, to be honest, my take is probably my question is probably a little bit crazier in saying that could they go from not at all first year to middle smack dab one slot away from the postseason? That's definitely a tough thing to ask about in this conference that is going to be shaking up this year. They do have a returning junior in De'Asia Johnson. 10-6 really, 43% from the field, 13 double-figure scoring games, a double-double, 14 5+ rebound games, and 3 10+ rebound games. She's going to be leading the spear. They are losing a lot, so I do see where you're coming from in the sense of it's going to be a little bit of a tougher sell for me. I do think it's more realistic that they are maybe not. I don't think they're going to be 11-10. I could see them being 8-9. I think I could see that happening. I think they could be flirting with those numbers for sure. You're putting up 65. You're giving up 72. Well, that's a lot. Most of these teams in this conference, unfortunately, however you want to call it, they're giving up 70+ points a game every night. So I do think it's going to be.
You're also losing certified 40 points.
Yes, because you're losing Erica Patton at 16 again. Pretty much a double-double at 16 and 10. Then you've got Sky Duggan at 15 and 5. Then you've got Chandra Yedel at 10 and 4 with 3 rebounds and 3 steals. Also 3 steals for Duggan. You're losing a lot. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that they're going to be bringing back enough, and that fresh new scent, that new environment might benefit them and be able to give them an extra year. Now, will that continue for next year? That's a different story. I don't think that's going to happen. You only get that new car smell once. And once you get it and it's gone, if you haven't really done anything with it, it might be a little noticeable that second year. But I do think this first year they could be benefiting from that new car smell.
You're right.
But let's talk about the other teams. And we'll start with Texarkana, the Eagles. Last year, or actually real quick, UNT Northern, they do have their schedule up. University of Science and Arts is on this schedule. I think it's a very good game for them. I think that could really benefit them early on November 1st for that game. And they've got Paul Quinn College. And then they open up. This is their start of their Red River. They've got University of Southwest, Texas A&M San Antonio, Our Lady of the Lake. Real quick question, then we'll go over to Texarkana. Do you see them going 2-1 in that stretch? And if so, who is that one loss to? I know we haven't touched on Our Lady of the Lake yet, but
personally, I do not.
Are you going 1-2?
Generously, yes.
Okay, who's the one win for then?
Probably Our Lady of the Lakes.
That's fair. I think that's the realistic
strat. And that game will probably be a double overtime flipping the coin kind of situation.
I could see that. Honestly, and I'm not mad at it. I was kind of where I was leading to 1-2. I think that's a realistic record for them out of that.
I was genuinely leading for 0-3, but I benefit the doubt always top reality.
I appreciate that. Again, you are the realistic one. You're the logical one. So I get that. But we're going to head over to Texarkana now. The Eagles, I like them because a specific player only played 14 games last year, and that is Chioma Treasure Emma. She played 14 games. She had 6 points, 5 rebounds, 43% from the field. Probably saying, well, that's not a lot. Again, in 14 games, she put up 6 double-figure scoring games. She had
First year?
Yes, first year.
That's actually pretty good stuff.
So that's my point. Again, 6 double-figure scoring games. She had 11 5-plus rebound games. She had 1 10-plus rebound game. For 14 games as a freshman, I like those stat lines, like you said. So I think give her a full year. Could be a possible honorable mention flirty kind of player. Who's the other player that you're kind of interested in and you're looking at? And is it Chiona Daly, the senior, coming in next year?
Definitely. I feel like with the 13 points, 3 boards, 3 assists that she put up this past year, with what they're losing in Kayla Williams, first team all conference, Delphina Messiuna, and Gigi Waddell, she has the green light, and don't go out and do all this crazy stuff just because I said this here. But on paper, she has the green light to step into a Kayla Williams type of performance, which is a first team all conference, 15-10. She has the recipe for that. She has the ability to do that. And with her coming into her senior year, she has all the experience that she needs to do that. She's seen the good and bad that the world has to provide within this Red River Conference. I don't see why she doesn't touch 15 points. I don't see in any scenario where this doesn't take a leap to start steering away from this honorable mention conversation and put yourself in a all-conference team.
I'm with it. 11, 10-plus scoring games. In her last 13 games, she put up actually an average of 13 points. She had 11 of those double-figure scoring games in there, and then 4 to end the season. This team, judging by their schedule, could be a year away from being a year away. Now, yes, I know the player we talked about just now is a senior and will not be there after next season, but the recruiting class and the younger, the underclassmen could be benefiting from the year they're about to have, because on their schedule they have Oklahoma Wesleyan. It's going to be a good game for them. Absolutely a great test there, and it will be at home. Then you've got Texas Wesleyan, another team that's going to be facing the Rams, and then Langston. That Langston game is going to be an interesting one. It is going to be at home. If they're able to keep that close with the Lions, I don't know who that says more about. If it says more about Langston or if it says more about Texarkana, we will have to find out. And then when they do start their Red River, it's a tough test, but a good test for both teams. LSU Shreveport is the first game. LSU Shreveport is the favorite. But again, if it's a close game, does that say more about LSU Shreveport or does that say more about Texarkana? I'm going to go with Texarkana because I feel like they have the development. They have the ability to be right in the middle of we're developing, but we're still going to be competitive enough to maybe make the playoffs. So I think they're going to be a good team. Are the Eagles again another team that giving up more points than they're scoring, 63-68. The back end of this conference can all be checked off from defense. Like they all need to work on their defense. The numbers don't lie. And we're going to talk. That's why we're talking about it. So that's why we're saying what we're saying. It's not because we're pulling it out of nowhere. You're giving up more points and by 2 possessions at times than your opponents. We got to work on the defense. It's just not non-negotiable. Granted, the top teams in the conference are putting up 70 points per game, but like I mentioned earlier, 2 of those teams that put up 70 last year were teams that didn't even make the playoffs. So don't tell me that's just the top teams. Everybody's putting up high numbers in this conference. So we definitely got to work on that defense. Now we go over to North American, the Stallions. They're returning 12 players. They're returning a very good 12 players. They're bringing back a sophomore, 2 juniors, 2 seniors. They are losing Eliza Peralta, second team all-conference member, 12, 5, 4 with 3 steals, 43% from the field, 30% from the three-point line. That's going to be a hit. But this team, to me, has the highest ceiling of any of these teams. I think they have the potential to get out of this. They're on the cusp of next up category in this. They're on the cusp of benefiting from the shakeup. Do you agree? Because I'm looking at this returning class, and there is a lot to like. I'm with it. I'm for it. Are you right there with me, my friend?
I am. I genuinely think that with the 12 that they're returning, and right now they're only losing Peralta, second team on conference, from what we know, with who they're also bringing back from this recruitment class as well. Their ceiling would be not only the playoffs, but hosting. I definitely see that this team has the potential to, as you said, profit the most from the shakeup. Something just doesn't sit right with me though.
You talk. Who did you talk about was your Xavier break right level type of team this year? Was it Texas College? I think it might have.
Was no, yeah, it was Texas College.
So I'm gonna go with North American. I think they're gonna be my just right. Like they could be the team that benefits the most. They could hit that just ground running, and they're gonna be going on a great run and maybe setting some records this year in wins and stuff like that. But that is gonna be again, ceiling is high. It's high for a reason, though. I do think it's going to take a little bit of a reach to get up there, and I think it is going to be a little bit tougher to do it. I do want to give them a round of applause because they are the United States Collegiate Athletic Association National Champions. For those who don't know, there are a lot of teams in the NAIA who actually play in multiple college levels. Some of them play in the NCCAA. Some of them play, like I mentioned, in the USCAA. So there are a lot of teams that are doing a lot of different, type of levels. But I do want to give, no matter what level you're in, a national championship is a national championship. That's all I care about. You got a banner, you got a rafter that's going to be filled up with something. So I'm going to definitely give you your flowers.
You have a shirt, medal, and a hat.
So that's all I'm looking at for sure. You were talking about what's something that doesn't sit right. What doesn't sit right with you for this team though? Like what is it? What stat are you looking at that doesn't really sit right with you?
The margins between their points per game.
Another team that's and again, that's why I say yes, they're technically giving up more than they're scoring by a decimal point. So they're already there. They're on the edge.
But that's not even what I wanted to touch on. The fact that they're on the edge, the number is still so low, is what's really concerning me in this conference.
I could see that. I need the defense to be a little bit. I can live with 66 points per game. I just can't live with 66 opponents' points per game. Again, in this conference, that's not that bad because of what some teams are giving up. But I just can't live with that. I think they can get to at least 63. Give me a positive, and I think I'm a little bit happier with that.
I agree. Give me 63 opponents' points per game. Give me 70 points per game, and I like them pulling.
I could also see that
the realistic break right.
I could also see their turnovers coming down a little bit more. I think they do a good job 100%. At forcing them, but I do think they can do a better job at keeping them. I do think that's a great segue into the recruiting class because, again, another team that does have an article for the recruiting class. They put up two key players, Savannah Vasquez and Zakiya Thompson. Now, Zakiya Thompson standing at 6 foot. She's described as a physical post who hustles, dives on loose balls, and is a great rim protector or shot deter. I'll say a shot contester. Think that's going to be a great pickup for them. Again, size to be able to put down there in the low block, especially with those top teams in the Red River that are going to have some bigger, stronger ladies down there on the low block. I think it's great to be able to go pick up somebody like that. She's going to be a sophomore in her class. And then Savannah, I think she's going to benefit and help the team with the turnovers. She's described as a, quote here from their coach, a stat sheet stuffer who can take over games when it matters most. What else can you ask for from a transfer who's going to be a senior next year? Again, you can tell she just oozes that senior confidence. She was the newcomer of the year in the JUCO that she was, or in the school that she was at, I should say. So I think she's going to be the perfect player to plug in and help this team, again, take care of the turnovers, but also be another offensive threat with a balanced offense that they have right now. I do like Kiesha Robinson, the USCAA MVP. Congratulations for that. I need her to be more aggressive. I think she should be the one that stands out a little bit more when it talks about scoring. She was the only one that was really close to averaging a double-double with 8 points and 7 rebounds. Again, a balanced offense. And everybody loves a balanced offense. I'm here for a balanced offense. I like it. It sounds great on paper, but it's just not realistic. How many times are you really going to have a balanced offense at least to win? Sometimes you need to have a key number one option, because when things are getting a little rocky and the boat isn't really grooving and moving the way it should in the water, you need to be able to give the ball to somebody and say, here, stop the bleeding, get us a couple buckets, let's get our flow back into the swing of things. And I think she can be that player for this Stallions team.
A balanced offense only works if you have a defensive front.
That's a bar. You might need to trademark that one, my boy. That's a bar. You might need to keep that one in the back pocket for sure.
I just might.
This Stallion team, they do have their schedule up. Nothing crazy in their non-conference slate, but then they open up their Red River against Xavier. Good test right there for both teams. LSU-A and Louisiana Christian. Are you feeling a 2-1, or is it a 1-2 type of start there? I'm feeling. Give me 2-1. Give me 2-1.
I'm going to go the complete opposite direction and say that I genuinely am feeling a 3-0.
Ooh, you got.
I feel like
Spicy.
with this team, I feel like this is going to be one of the teams that LSU plays against, and it just hits them in the jaw. Like, I feel like this is the game. Every team has one game where they end up leaving the game and they're like, this is too close for comfort. Like, this is not who we are. This is not how we perform.
I could agree.
Like that game.
I could agree that this North American team would be the team in the Red River that I would describe as, if it stays close to the end, they're the ones that are going to be the favorites. But if you put them away early, then it might be an easier game for you. But if you let them hang around within 5 to 7 throughout the whole game, and they even maybe get a lead, they're going to get in a run, especially if it's at home, stuff like that, they would be the team you don't like to be in those situations. So I completely agree with you for that one.
Especially because when it comes down to the last 2 minutes, with them kind of playing the balance offense kind of role,
you don't know where it's coming from.
You don't know where to go.
Exactly. The last two teams, we can kind of put them together. The Jarvis Christian Bulldogs and Our Lady of the Lake Saints, both teams, development years. I don't think it's anything crazy to say that. The other team has their roster up. Both teams are bringing back a decent amount of in the returning department. I'm just going to ask you this again. I think these teams are going to be more of a development year for them. I think they're going to be possibly a year away from being a year away. Which returning group and which team are you more excited to watch develop this year? Is it Our Lady of the Lakes or is it Jarvis Christian? And then tell me why.
I would probably say the Saints, only because nothing's changing. They have nothing to lose based off of what we know, and there is no downside. Like, it's truly only up for them. Whereas Jarvis Christian, they have gaps to fill, they have people to recover from, and they have an adjustment period per se. For the Saints, as far as we know, it is the same exact group. And with that, it really does set them up for success, because if you have the same exact group coming in from the year before, you don't have to sit there and rebuild and reform an offense. You just harp on what you have, and you just strengthen that connection, that on-court connection, that chemistry. And with that, you'd be able to see a visible difference, especially being led by Julia Plata, technically on conference 15-2. Genuinely, I feel like it. Like I said, there's no loss, there's no downside this season for them. Genuinely,
I'm with you. I would say the Saints, especially because the returning groups that we're talking about, Julie's gonna be a junior. Then Desiree Rogers and Alexandra Westerdy Martin are gonna be seniors. Isabella Jeremilo is gonna be a senior. Samantha Fields is gonna be a junior. Carla Owen is gonna be a junior. Carla and Julia are 10 plus point per game scorers at 15 for Julia and 13 for Owens. Like, there's a lot more to like there. Like, they could be a scary team when, you're in March and in February and you're fighting for a playoff spot. This team could come in and be the reason you don't get it. Like, I could for sure see that. For Jarvis Christian,
this team will definitely be somebody that can send the team going home with no postseason chance.
They could be that team, and I think they would also love that. I think they would love to be playoff spoilers to some of these teams, and those are the worst teams to play against because they're not playing for a playoff spot, but they want to ruin your playoff chances, and they're
playing to bring tears.
Exactly, and they're not even in the tournament. It's crazy. But for Jarvis Christian,
this is some people I like.
The one thing that I want to talk about is, again, you're returning Taylor Gordon, senior, Shemaya Champ, sophomore, Carmela Hayden, senior, 6, 7, 7, and 10, really, respectively, for those players. A very good offensive season for them. All of them had multiple 10-plus scoring games. For Taylor, she had 2 double-doubles. So did Champ. I'm more so talking about J.C. Reese. She on the roster, I don't know if she's a senior, a junior, or what. If she is coming back, and I have her under returning because I just don't know, but if she is coming back, second team all conference member, to be second team all conference, just like for Julia, to be second team all conference and you're bottom of the conference, you're a problem. You're one of the better players in the conference because the wins were not there, but you still put up numbers. For JC, she put 13, 3, 2 assists, 2 steals. The field goal percentage was not great, but I'm chalking that up to just a very high volume because of the role she had to play. But she had 17 double-figure scoring games, 3 20 balls, a 30 ball, 4 5-plus rebound games. 13 of the last 15 games were 10-plus. She averaged 15 in that stretch.
If she had a 30 ball, her field goal percentage makes perfect sense.
If she's coming back, I like this Bulldogs team to be more on the level of the Saints. Both teams are going to be developing. I think both teams are a year away from being a year away. I think more so for Our Lady of the Lakes, they could be a step closer to really elevating into playoff contention. But I think both teams are going to be tough teams to deal with when you're in the thick of it of your conference schedule. You're on the road. You're playing. You're practicing hard. Your body's a little tired, a little sore. They're the team you don't want to play against. I think that's what these two teams are, and I think that's what these two teams are going to be hanging their hat on throughout the year. But don't be surprised if they're a little bit maybe fighting for a playoff spot in the middle of the year and at the beginning of it, picking up some big wins. But that's going to do it for the Red River. We are done with the preview of all 12 teams. Talked about it all. Talked about which team out of the top 3 we're most concerned about. Talked about which team out of the next 4 we're most excited for. And then we talked about where UNT is going to fall. I think they're going to be a little bit higher than where Lex is. Lex has them more so in that 10 to 11 range. I have him 8 to 9. We both agree that he's not going to they don't see him making the playoffs, but they could be a nice little surprise in this first year of the Red River. It's time for our way too early tiers. For those who don't know how we do this,
it's time for all of the clips to start coming in.
This is where the clips come in. For those who don't know what we're doing, 4 tiers. Contenders, meaning we think you can win the regular season or the tournament championship. Playoff locks, we're comfortable putting you as a playoff team. At the door, you could be a playoff team. You could just miss it. And then your break right teams. Teams we feel like everything has to go right for you to make the postseason. We'll start there, like we always do. I'm going to go.
Pencil with no lead.
Texarkana. Jarvis. I know what I said earlier, but we're talking about categories. UNT Dallas. I have to put them there just because when we're talking about playoff ability, while I feel like they could be an 8 or 9, that's best case scenario. More realistically, they're probably going to be, where Lex said, 10 or 11. What are your 3 teams?
I agree.
All right. We're off to a great start. Doesn't really happen too much, guys. At the door, give me your first 3. Give me your 3 teams, actually.
At the door, we have Louisiana Christian. We have Our Lady of the Lakes. And we have
I gotta
I'm
add
gonna
it.
have to say.
I gotta add a
I'm
Jeopardy.
gonna have to say Southwest.
Okay, I gotta add a Jeopardy to the soundboard when we start doing these things. I have OLLU; they are in there. I do not have Louisiana Christian, and I do not have Southwest. What I have is North America and Xavier. However, I'm going to switch here live. I'm going to switch North America with Louisiana Christian. They were my playoff locks, but like I mentioned before, I was really didn't know where to put these teams after talking about it with you, after deliberating. I do like having Louisiana Christian at the door. I think it's more realistic. I think it's more believable for them. And I think North America
You convinced
has
me too. You convinced me. Xavier got to go down.
Xavier going down. So you got Xavier. So your new at the doors are Xavier, OLLU, and Southwest.
Xavier.
No, Louisiana Christian.
I'm keeping Louisiana Christian there.
Okay.
And Southwest.
All right. So yeah, so you're bumping OLLU up. I like that too. I'm here for it. I'm here for that.
They're right at number 6 though.
Oh yeah, I know. For my number 6, I had Texas College. Now I've got North America as my 5 because I moved Louisiana Christian down to my 8, and then I've got Southwest as my 4 for the playoff locks teams. I feel like will be in the playoffs. Give me your 3.
This is gonna get really messy, guys.
You have no idea.
I have OLLU.
Mm-hmm.
I have Texas College.
Uh-huh.
And then I have
I'm not surprised. I knew that was where it was going, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I was debating it too because LSU Shreveport is my number 3. They are possibly going to fall into that playoff lock tier. I just don't know who I would put up. I feel like even though LSU Shreveport is going to have maybe a step back year, it will still be better. It's more likely that there could be still a contender or a possible contender than one of these other teams making that big of a leap.
100%.
So that's why I went 3.
I genuinely feel very sick bringing up a team like North America so high.
Wow.
But
now that's a jump, my brother. That's a jump.
Exactly. I feel very sick. It's just that everything else makes sense.
You are jumping. You are Blake in the 2011 All-Star game. You are jumping over a car right now, dog. You are Kobe 100%. In the commercial. God rest his soul. I have LSU Shreveport, Texas A&M, and then LSU Alexandria as my 3 contenders. You have North America. Who are the other 2? I'm assuming San Antonio and LSU-A.
Mm-hmm.
So let's recap now. For me, my way too early tiers prediction for the Red River Conference in order from top to bottom. I've got LSU-A, Texas A&M San Antonio, LSU Shreveport. I now have a Southwest North America and Texas College in my playoff locks. I've got Xavier, I've got Louisiana Christian, and I've got OLLU in my at the door, and then Texas Arcana, Jarvis, and UNT Dallas as my break right teams. Lex.
From bottom up, we have Jarvis Christian, UNT Dallas, and Texas Arcana for our break right. At the door, we have... I already forgot. Oh, definitely Xavier's down there. I believe Texas College and Southwest. No, Louisiana Christian was definitely over there. Playoff blocks, Southwest, LSU Shreveport, and Our Lady of the Lakes. Meaning, all the way up at the top of contenders, a very unpopular North American Texas A&M San Antonio, and our front runners LSU-A.
And that will do it for our Red River Athletic Conference. We are done. We're now going to head over to the Cal Pac. Probably going to be our shortest preview, but who knows? Thought that was going to happen before, and it did not happen. But With that being said, we appreciate you guys if you've been with us the whole time. If you're going to join us over in the Cal Pac, we thank you. We'll see you over there. If you're not and you were just here for the Red River, we understand. We get it. But we appreciate you as well. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to follow us on all our socials. Hopefully we'll see you in the Cal Pac. If not, we'll see you guys in the next one. We are back now for part 2 of part 7 of episode 11. So many numbers. But we're starting to get in the swing of things for the Cal Pac. We are now going to be previewing the Cal Pac. We just previewed the, oh my God,
Red River.
Thank you so much. Wow, brain fart. Again, this is how you know we be recording this on weird times. Sometimes schedules, our life gets in the way of things. So I be forgetting sometimes. For those who are maybe shaking their eyes, no, I did not have this haircut before. Literally just got it. So that's literally why it looks a lot different. We all understand it. But I appreciate you. This is why there's two of us.
A new place, a new cut.
Again, I'm still in an undisclosed location. I cannot say it for legal purposes. But just know, if a certain signal goes up into the sky, I may have to leave in the middle of the recording. I gotta go. I gotta save the city. It is what it is. I'm not gonna say anymore. But back to the basketball side of things. The Cal Pac. This is going to be an interesting conference, and we're going to save the nickname part because it's actually one of the questions, and I think it is going to just summarize everything with this conference, but there still is going to be some things we can talk about when we talk about the California Pacific Conference. First things first, going to recap the regular season standings from last year. Number 1, UC Merced, Simpson, La Sierra, Westcliff, Cal Maritime, and Pacific Union. Only 6 teams in the conference now. You can see those 2 dashes right there. You have UC Merced, who went to the Division II level, and then La Sierra, we already talked about, they're going to be in the GSAC this year. So that leaves 4 teams, but they did add 2 new teams, so we're back up to a total of 6. You do see though, there's only 4 conference tournament teams in the top 4 of the standings. So I'm curious if that's going to stay, if that's going to change. I'm kind of liking the fact they only have 4 because I think it still adds a little bit of excitement to the regular season. But at the end of the day, I think these 2 new teams are going to add into the nickname that I think you and I both kind of agree on when it comes to the Cal Pac. We will now preview, or a recap, I should say, the regular season champions, conference champions, UC Merced, and then first team, second team, honorable mention, all defensive and postseason awards. Now, there are going to be some players left off of this list. First things first, though, congratulations to everybody that made the list. The only reason I didn't find the names for it was because those players are no longer a part of the Cal Pac. I just wanted, again, when we do these conference previews, they're specifically for the teams that we will see next year, the players that we will see next year. So that's why I left it to only teams that will be in the Cal Pac this coming season. Again, congratulations to everybody that won an award, DPOI, Freshman of the Year, as well as all your all-conference teams and defensive teams. Lex, let's get right into it. 3 questions plus our way too early tiers. Question number 1 is going to be, what is the Cal Pac's nickname? It's not going to be anything crazy. I think we're going to just talk about the fact that we don't know, and that is literally going to be the name of this conference. Then we talk about who out of the 4 returning teams is the team to beat. I do think there is a clear-cut team to beat, in my opinion. We'll see if we agree or disagree on that. And then who out of the 2 newcomers can hit the ground running. Again, with a small conference, it's not the craziest thing to think about one of these 2 new teams jumping in and being able to really shake up some things early on in the conference. And then we'll talk about our way too early tiers: 1 contender, 2 playoff locks, 2 at the door, and then a break right team. My good buddy Lex, let's get right into it. Question 1, the name for the Cal Pac. I'm going to say my name. I think you're going to say something similar, but I'm curious on how you're going to phrase it because you've been on a roll. No pressure, but you're 3 for 3 right now, dog. You got to keep it rolling. I'm going to go with the unknown conference. This conference is just unknown to me. Even when we look at the stats, some of the stats, they were kind of hard to find. We eventually did find some good stuff, but to me, they're still unknown. Do you agree? Do you have a different way you want to phrase it? Do you have a better way of phrasing it? What is the nickname for the Cal Pac this year?
I'm afraid I'm phrasing it the question mark league.
Dang it.
Only
Dang it.
because
Man is cooking right now.
This conference can truly be one of those situations where if everything breaks right for the conference as a whole, if they can be one of those conferences that we start calling the jungle, the penitentiary, something, nice and scary like that, just because of what's contained within this conference. It's one of those things where, like, from perspective, it's small, minuscule, but they pack a punch. So, and that's a big if things break right. And we're kind of going to that with everything else. But the question mark league makes sense.
I like it. I think it sounds great. I think they should trademark it, honestly. I'll even go to another level, kind of off of what you said with Break Right. This could be called the Break Right Conference in the sense of any one of these teams, realistically speaking, could be one crazy season away from making a conference tournament like jump, because there's just no clear cut. Yes, we're going to talk about a team to beat, which we both have, but to be honest, it's not like it's a clear number one and then everybody. No, like we're going to put our number ones, but neither one of them are perfect. There's no perfect team in this conference. I think this conference is wide open. I think this conference, last year it was UC Mercer who was the clear number one, but this year it could be any one of these teams. So I'm very excited to get into it, because I think question mark, unknown, Break Right conference, it all kind of sums up into the just we don't know aspect of things. So I think it's going to be a really good way to talk about this conference. And we'll get right into it with question number 2. Who are the 4 teams that are coming back this year from the Cal Pac from last year are going to be the team to beat? We'll start with the quote-unquote number 1 team. When we did this with the notes, we just put them in order of where they finished last year, and then we added the 2 teams from that are coming in at the bottom. So that's why we're going to say number 1, but technically they were number 2 last year. Simpson, California, the Red Hawks. They made it to the semifinals last year in the Cal Pac. Again, granted that it is only one round before the championship game because there are only 4 teams. This team is very interesting. I like them. They are my team to beat, to be honest with you, to be upfront with you. They are my team to beat. Talk to me, though, about some things that you like from this Red Hawks team and what they're returning, because they may have the best returning group in the Cal Pac, in my opinion.
I definitely agree that they do have the best returning group within the Cal Pac so far. They're returning an Anna Marshall. They're returning a Serena Mugen, and they're returning a Zara Dumatal. I'm not going to butcher names like Manny here. But with returning 2 all-conference members, 1 first team, 1 second team, and an honorable mention on your team, you're setting yourself up for success with this up-and-coming Cal Pac conference, averaging at about, let's say, 32 as a unit between the 3 of them. And that's a very strong number that you're coming into the new year with your team already averaging 62 as a unit. That's already half of your scoring power right there. So to have that coming back is definitely a big up to them.
No, absolutely. And again, they are our team to beat, because if we look at last year's stats, the top 2 teams in the conference, we talk about points per game, were UC Mercer, no longer in the conference. They were at 70 points per game. The next team was La Sierra, no longer in the conference, at 62 points per game. And then after that was Simpson at 62. And then after that, it was Cal Maritime at 61. And then Westcliff at 56. And then Pacific Union at 42. So they were already the 3rd best team in the conference last year, arguably, when we talk about offense and by the numbers. So it's very simple for us to look at it and say they're going to continue to grow up. But my thing is, and kind of what Lex talked about, the players they have coming back are that good. I think all 3 are juniors going into their senior year. I think they have a very good opportunity in front of them to have a great final campaign for their respective team. You look at Anna Marshall, she had 16 double-figure scoring games. She had 5 20 balls, a double-double, 14 5-plus rebound games, and then also 15 games with 3-plus steals. She could be, and I think is the front runner for Player of the Year. I think she's gonna put up the numbers. She already put up, like you mentioned, 13 and 6 last year with 2 assists and 3 steals on almost 40% shooting from the field. So it's not crazy to think she's gonna get better. She's gonna get even more efficient. She's gonna get a lot more touches, in the sense of she's gonna have these games now where she's going to cross 15 comfortably. I think that's going to be the baseline for her. I think she's going to average about 15 points per game this year. And when you average 15, that means you're going to get a couple 20 balls in there. She already had 5 last year. I think she'll get to 10 next year. Like, I really do think she's going to have a very, very good season. And then you've got Serena, 11 double-figure scoring games, a 20 ball for her, 5 double-doubles, 25-plus rebound games, and 8 10-plus rebound games. She is going to be a walking double-double. I think if she doesn't average a double-double, it was not a good season for her. That's the type of season and expectation I have for Serena. She was second team all conference last year. I need a first team. I need clean. You basically gave me 11 and 8. I'll stick with 11 points, but give me 10 rebounds. I think you can do that. I'll even let you flirt with a 9-point whatever, so I can round up to 10. But I think a double for her is completely within the realm of possibilities. And then we round out with Zara Dumatal. Yes, she might not have the scoring for the other 2. Again, only 8 points per game. She only had 7 double-figure scoring games. She did have a 20 ball, so she can't put the ball in the hole. But this is the stat I really wanted to throw out for her. 11 5-plus assists. So not only are you bringing back an honorable mention player, you're bringing back arguably your floor general, your playmaker for the team.
Facilitator.
So now you've got, that's another reason I feel like Anna and Serena are going to be able to get more touches, because she being Zara, obviously, is going to be able to get them in positions and get them in opportunities to be able to go out and just get buckets. She might not go up in scoring. Maybe she will, just from the fact of being around two really good scorers. I could see her getting 10 points, but I think the assists are going to go for sure. I think she'll get around 6 assists next year, and she'll be able to continue to be a focal point on the court, and again, a floor general, so to speak, where maybe not an all-conference season because the points won't be there, but she'll definitely at least be honorable mention again and could be on the cusp of a second-team all-conference type of season. The one thing I see for this team that I need, the scoring. I need that scoring. You should be the clear-cut number one offense next year in the Cal Pac. No questions asked.
100%.
I'm not talking about under 65. I need close to 70. I need you to be putting up almost 70 a night on a consistent basis. The field goal percentage, not bad, 38%. Three-pointers got to get better. I think that's got to be at least 30% right now.
You got to separate yourself.
I think that's the best way to put it. Separation is the biggest thing, because when we look at the percentages last year for the Cal Pac, it was pretty obvious that the three-point shooting from the top of the conference was what separated them, especially for UC Mercer. I think if Simpson gets that three-point percentage good, they're going to be having a very good season, and I'm looking forward to covering them, because I think they are going to be, again, the team to beat and the clear-cut favorites. Their schedule is up for Simpson. I like their schedule. It's nothing crazy, if I'm being honest with you. They do have some very good teams, though, down in the middle of their non-conference slate. They've got Oregon Tech at Oregon Tech. They've got Southern Oregon at Southern Oregon, and then they'll start their conference run with Cal Maritime, and then they'll get a couple more non-conference slates before they round it back into their conference part of the season. The fact that they have both Southern Oregon and Oregon Tech, I like that. I'm excited for that. Do you think they go 1-1? Is that a fair assumption to make? Do you see them possibly going 2-0? I know that's a little bit of a stretch, but I'm more so on the 1-1 side. Talk to me about maybe them going 1-1 with those two teams, and which one you feel like could be the one for them.
Personally, I think that 1-1 would be the ceiling. I think that I would want them to go 1-1, because if they go 1-1, they set themselves up for success. 2-0, they've kind of solidified themselves in the Cal Pac. But I am not going to be shocked at an 0-2 turnout, just because of who they're playing and the potential of how they recover from the loss of Texarkana. And with that, I think that my answer would be the ceiling would be 1-1.
I like that. I think that's a fair, again, a goal. I think that is a good way of putting it. The ceiling is 1-1, because, and it's no hot take, the experts are going to go to 0-2. Like, that's a realistic thing, especially on the road. But even if it's 0-2 with a, let's say, less than 10-point deficit in both games, I like that. It shows competition. It shows that you expect more from yourself this year. So I think even at 0-2, the way you go 0-2 was what's going to really matter for the two of us. So I'm very excited to see what this Red Hawks team does this year. But let's keep going with those three other teams that are coming back in the Cal Pac. Westcliff, the Warriors. First things first. New head coach for them, Coach Andre Wallace. Congratulations. He actually coming from the men's side of things over at Westcliff. So I'm excited to see what he can do. On our notes, Cassidy Beach was the freshman of the year and was pegged to be coming back. But when I went through the research second time around, she is not on the website. As a matter of fact, they only have 9 players on the website and only 3 returners. Granted, we are doing this on September 6th. That could change in a couple weeks. But as of right now, we're recording this.
It can change tomorrow.
It literally could. As of right now, we're recording this. There's only 3 returners from last year's team, 9 total players on the roster. This team is unknown. It's completely unknown.
The representation of unknown.
They really are. So what would you like to see them do better than last year's team? Again, you can even talk about the players that they lost, because that is going to be a big hit. I mean, you've got first team all conference, all defensive teams, players across them lose across the roster no longer there. But what do you want to see specifically when we look at the stats that they did not do as good last year that you would like Coach Wallace to be able to improve on this year?
I think across the board, the conference suffered from efficient three-point shooting. I think the bottom 4 teams average out at about 25% from 3. And if they can bump that closer to 30 plus even, they automatically place themselves in the competition because that helps raise their offensive mindset. That helps raise their offensive stats. With that, they already were a great defensive team, forcing about 25 turnovers a game, but being able to keep that consistently. And hopefully with the new coach coming in, he can keep that fire rolling. And that doesn't have to be something that's hurt with the absences that they are going to experience. But my end would be efficient three-point shooting, consistent three-point shooting, and stretching out the margin in between you and what you force your opponents to do statistically.
The 3-point shooting is because if you look at the four teams from last year, we talked about Simpson, they put up about 28. Westcliff put up about 24, 25. Then Cal Maritime, 27. And then you look over at Pacific Union, 19. There is a clear room or clear stat for the better teams in the conference to take a stranglehold on. I think Simpson will do better. I don't think they need it. And I think that's the biggest thing that you and I are talking about here. The fact that we just talked about Simpson, they have a very good group coming back. They've got a great foundational building block, so to speak, to improve on. For Westcliff, they're a brand new team. There is no foundation. This is going to be year one of the foundation. So you would need to be a better 3-point shooting team than a Simpson. Now, I'm not saying that Simpson can go out there and just put up a horrible percentage from a 3-point line. No, I'm not saying that. But if they say they're exactly the same at 27, 28%, that's fine. They're still going to possibly be the number one team in the conference. But if Westcliff puts up over 30 next year, if they are the number one team when we talk about 3-point shooting next year, don't get it twisted. They may be a close second. They could be a very close second because, again, unknown legitimately could be their best tool. That could be their superpower, so to speak. So I do think it's a good point to make with them having a 3-point that could be the best or better than the rest of the conference. I think that it leads to them having a lot of success next year.
Well, let me give you a hot take here. Put on the scary music because I know it's going to be a hot take. I don't think any team returning from the Cal Pac conference from last year will be the number one seed.
Dog, I'm right there with you. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Don't worry about that. Well, we do talk about Westcliff. Their schedule is out as well. I will say, round of applause to the Cal Pac teams. Every single one of them had their schedule out. And I think that has to be talked about. I appreciate that. For us, it makes our lives a lot easier and a lot more fun. But I want to give them their flowers for all having their schedules out. Westcliff, Concordia, Irvine, Cal Tech, a few good games to start the season. You've got Hope International. All these are on the road, by the way. Benedict Mesa, Arizona Christian. It's a nice run to start the season. And a lot of non-conference games. They've also got Park Gilbert on there, and then we just talked about the GSAC last episode. And then it looks like, if I'm reading this correctly, their first conference game will not be until the new calendar year on January 8th. You know me. I
like that.
I'm very big on the amount of non-conference games you can get under your belt before your conference opener. It's a give and take. It's two sides to the same coin. You're not wrong if you like the opposite of I want to get these games in early to be able to maybe catch some teams slipping, or you're on the other side where I am of I don't want to kind of push those games as far back as I can so I can have my team as prepared as possible. Very good slate of games. And I think that kind of goes back to what we just talked about with the unknown. Maybe they don't even know to a degree. They want to see what they have in their own right. If they're going to have a low roster team, it's going to be hard. You got to be very specific on what you do. So I'm very excited to see the unknown team in the Cal Pac this year. And possibly if they can be with the best 3-point shooting team in the conference, we will see. Heading over to Cal Maritime. The Keel Haulers, I believe. I just wanted to say they're the mascot one time. I don't know what that is, but if anybody in the comments knows what it is, let us know. The program was actually picked to host the Cal Pac tournament on the men's and women's side, so congratulations to them. Some conferences do pick that ahead. Some of them wait, as we know, for hosting and all that kind of stuff. But they are going to be picked as the team to host. Talk to me about this group, because I feel like they're a little similar to Westcliff. You know what? I'll ask you this question instead. Are they closer to Simpson or Westcliff? Again, Simpson being a more established team that can do some good stuff next year for them, or a Westcliff team where we don't really know what to put on them, and they have this specific thing that they could really be good at to be one of the better teams in the conference. Where do they fall on that spectrum?
I think they fall right in the middle, smack in the middle, the clear 50-50 to me, just because they have a solid core they are returning, similar to Simpson. They have a basis as far as their play style and what their strengths are, similar to Simpson. But there is a strong unknown, similar to Westcliff, based off of what they're losing, how they'll recover from that, and how they can improve to solidify a spot within the top bracket of the conference.
I like it. In my opinion, I'm gonna lean a little more to Simpson on the aspect of continuity of bringing back 3 players. Aisa Santos, second team all-conference member, Soraya Lloyd, and Emily Newton, both honorable mentions. Again, similar to Simpson, juniors that are going to be going to their senior years. So I'm kind of excited from that end. I will say, out of the 3, and no surprise, Santos is the one I'm most interested in. I think she could have a very good first team all conference type of year. She put up 15 double-figure scoring games. She ended the season 7 straight, including a 20-point performance in there. 15 points in her last 7 games. You know me, I'm big on how you end the season as a team and as a player is very important. So going into your senior year, I think it's a great thing for her to have that type of end to her junior year. Now talk to me about what they're losing, because they, unlike Simpson, and this is where I kind of lean more towards Westcliff, they are losing a lot. They are losing a lot for this Keel Haulers team. Talk to me about that.
First team on conference, Dylan Fulton, 11 points, 5 boards, 46% from the field, 38 from 3. Addison Ellsbury, honorable mention, 5 points, 4 boards, 35% from the field. And TR Novero Paga, 5 points, 2 boards, 31% from the field. That's a unison. You're pushing over 20. You're pushing closer to basically a 20 and 10 that you're losing as far as points and rebounds, as well as your front runner with Fulton being your first team all conference and the leader of this Cal Maritime team. I'm going to personally need Asia to step up. I'm pretty sure it's Asia Santos. I'm not going to lie to you. But I'm going to need this team to fall behind Asia and for Asia to be able to step up and lead this Cal Maritime team to success. Without a front runner with this team, I definitely can predict that they can probably drop in the rankings if they kind of stay away from that.
We talked about Westcliff, them being a 3-point team and needing to do that to be a little more successful. For me, and this Cal Maritime team, I think the turnovers, I think they can force a good amount of turnovers. They were second in the conference in turnovers forced. They forced opponents into 22. The team that was number 1 was actually Westcliff at 24.5. I think that Westcliff has a better chance of being a 3-point shooting team next year, but I think Cal Maritime can lock down on the defensive side of the ball. They were forcing 10 steals, almost 11 last year, so half of the turnovers they were putting up were live ball turnovers. But then you look over at these other teams, again, Westcliff was number 1, but most of these teams were not forcing that many steals. So that could be a very niche thing for this Cal Maritime team to kind of take a grasp on and move forward with. Now we'll go to the last team from last year's Cal Pac conference, Pacific Union. To be honest with you, it's tough. First things first, new head coach. Gotta give him a round of applause. Coach Landon Banks. The class was not shown on the roster for Pacific Union. At least I couldn't find it. So maybe if it was, I'm sorry, I don't know. So a lot of these players, I mean, we put them under returning. Don't really know if they're coming back. The only player that I have under losing or that we have under losing that we know is not coming back is Soljit Dodd. She was the only players that had a class next to her name, and she was a senior. So obviously she's not going to be coming back unless she has a 5th year of eligibility. I actually, before we go more on, I did forget to talk about Cal Maritime's schedule. They're on the other side. You know, we talked about Westcliff having no games until January. October, they have an alumni game. Does Cal Maritime, and then their first game is Pacific Union at Pacific Union, and then they've got Simpson after that. So they're coming out the gates swinging. They're coming out the gates early. We'll see how that benefits them or if it hurts them down the stretch. Then they've got Ottawa, Arizona. Then they've got Life Pacific at Life Pacific, and then we're back to Pacific Union and at Simpson. So I'm very curious to see if these games are going to count conference games. I know sometimes we do have situations where teams are just trying to get extra games, so they pick up some games in their conference, but they don't count as conference games. So we will see if that happens for this Cal Maritime team. But as for Pacific Union, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think you kind of sit along the same lines. As much as I want to deep dive into the players, not knowing, like they truly don't know if they're actually going to be coming back. I just think it's going to be a development year this year. I think you got a new coach. It's the perfect time to do it. I think it's going to be a year for them to just say, hey, let's hit the reset button. Let's go out and build the foundation, and let's go from there. I mean, do you think there's anything 100%. More to that?
I definitely agree. I think that you have the potential of returning a Nerlani Skies, a Kaya Miller, a Creedence Shaver, but without the proof in the pudding, so to say, without us actually knowing, we can't make any sort of prediction. I am, even with them coming back, I'm all for a development year with this team. I definitely think that new coach, new group, recruiting class, new focus, new niche to kind of lock in on and use that as your basis for success can definitely help the Pacific Union team.
They do have their schedule out. Not too many games, a lot of conference games. The few non-conference games they have, UC Santa Cruz versus Ottawa, Arizona. Then it's pretty much a bunch of conference games here and there. They only have, as of right now on their schedule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 total games. Again, conference games are going to be in there. You're going to have a few of them. So majority of their games are going to be conferences. It is what it is. But like we said, I think development year is the best way to put it for this coming season for this Pioneers group under new head coach Landon Banks. Question 3. This is where we're going to get hot. And question 3 is what or who out of the two newcomers, we haven't talked about them yet, are going to most likely hit the ground running. I think we have the same team that is going to hit the ground running.
100%.
There's no way we don't, right? Like, there's no way we don't. So
there's no way we don't.
I'm going to count down from 3 to 1. After I say 1, we're going to say the same team. There's no way we don't say the same team, right? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Northern New Mexico. All right, perfect. We're going to save them for last because I know we can deep dive into them. So let's talk about Stanton. I do want to give Stanton a round of applause. Wow. First year in the NAIA, not in the Cal Pac. They are now officially an NAIA institution. They are sponsored, if you want to say it. I don't know the correct terminology for it, but they are going to be in the NAIA and are going to be a part of the Cal Pac. So I'm excited for their season. They're similar to the Pacific Union team. Don't really have too much to go off of them. They only played 13 games last year. There's no player stats on their website. They did not win a game last year, though. So, I mean, you can kind of take that as what you will. But a development year for them. They're going to just try and enjoy this first year and then build from last year. They could be a surprise. We don't know. But we can see, again, from what last year was to this year, not too much really go on. So there's going to be another development team for the Cal Pac. Northern New Mexico.
The floor for this Stanton team, though, be an upsetting team in the most positive way.
I like that.
The floor would be cause some ruckus in the Cal Pac.
I like that. I can appreciate that.
Really have success because that's expected. That's preferred, obviously, but I don't think it's too expected within this first year in NAIA. But be a team that upsets other teams.
Well, there you go.
We'll leave it at that.
Like we like to say, we like to do bulletin board material. I think Lex did a great job at giving y'all a positive bulletin board material. So good on him. Northern New Mexico, the Eagles. Ooh, baby. New head coach, Mandy Montoya. Congratulations to Coach Montoya. They were in the CAC last year, the Continental Athletic Conference. Mm-hmm. I'm here for them. And I'm going to let you talk. Hey, we're going to be good cop, bad cop here. I'm going to give you the floor on why you're high on this team. And then I'm going to say the only thing that kind of concerns me a little bit. You're going to give me your case for, I'm going to give you the case against. Granted, we both agreed this team could be a number 1 seed. Like, they really could be. They really could be. But there's something I do want to harp on before we get into it. But go ahead. Give this team the flowers. The Kool-Aid's out the fridge. You don't even have a cup. You're going straight out of the jug. Talk to me about this Eagles crew.
This Eagles crew, statistically, even comparing what they're gaining and losing and all of that stuff, based off of what they did last year, statistically, they trump every team in the Cal Pac solely just based off of points per game. In a conference that averages, from what I see from the last 4 teams, 42, 61, 56, 62, average of like, I want to say 50, 57, 58 points per game as a unison. This Northern New Mexico team, that's 70. But they stamp themselves offensively. They win the 3-point battle tremendously as a group in comparison to the other 4 teams, 5 teams realistically with Stanton now. 40% from the field as a unison. They're returning, from what we know, 8 players, which is a great core to focus on to the 8-player group that has seen a lot. They are now playing in 2 different conferences, playing with 2 different sets of teams, and with that can use their experience to lead themselves to the top, to the chip in this Cal Pac conference. I am high on this team, and I will continue to use my logic because it just makes sense. But I can easily talk myself out of it, but I'll let you do that.
Everything you said makes, like, I'm here for it. From the time that I was making these notes, and even when I went back and redid, those quick notes, so to speak, when we talk about some things we may have missed in the main notes time, this team did everything. We look at their schedule, not this year, but last year. They played against some good opponents. They played against the Kansas Wesleyan from the KCAC. We already talked about them in their preview. Go ahead and watch that if you didn't, but just know they're one of the better teams in the country. We've talked about Texas San Antonio literally in the previous part of this episode in the Red River, and we think they're going to be really good this year. So they had some good opponents last year. You're bringing back, actually, a coach in Coach Montoya. She was an assistant coach in 2015 and 2019, so you love to hear those stories for sure to come back. You've got a Jaden Jenkins. I think she's going to be the focal point, so to speak, coming in as her in their senior year. She put up 7 and 4 last year from points and rebounds, 53% from the field, but she had 5 double-figure scoring games. She had a 20 ball in there. That was also a 20-10 game. She had 7 5+ rebounding games. So she was kind of showing bright spots, and I think she can kind of put it all together in her final year. The only thing that concerns me, and to be honest with you, the reason I'm high on them is because this concern is not deterring me from picking them. It's just kind of my basketball brain being realistic and not being too high. You're losing a lot. And
that's why I avoided that particularly, because
there is, Ethina Sylvia, Brianna Marquez, and Gillian Roybell, 10 points, 9 points, 5, 2, and 2 in the rebounds. You also have 2 steals that you're losing from Brianna. All 3 were almost 40% field goal percent shooters. So that's my only concern. And again, when I say concern is even a strong word. Like, I don't feel comfortable saying it. It's more of I don't even know what the word is, but it's more of a note, I think. Just like, hey, we have to be noticing this. We have to make this a point because it could affect things. We love what this team is on paper. I think that they have, and it may be more so of the fact that the Cal Pac does not have a true clear-cut number 1 from last year. I think that is the other part of this, where we're both like, this conference is wide open. It's, again, unknown, so you can go in there and maybe have a great first year. I do believe it's going to be between them and Simpson to be the 1 and 2, so to speak. And we even talk about that in our tiers list here. But we're very high on this Northern New Mexico team. They can benefit from the conference change, and I think it'll be possibly, if they don't win it this year, I think after 1 year under the belt, they're going to be comfortable and they're going to be able to be the clear-cut team in the future. We will see what the other teams have to say about that. But that will do it for our preview. After we talk about the schedule, of course, for the Northern New Mexico team, this is the other reason I like them. their schedule is a schedule of someone who really wants to go out there and do some damage. They are going to be playing in the Oklahoma Panhandle State University Classic. In that game, they will have USAO as well as Oklahoma Panhandle, two very good teams that are from the Sooner that are going to be a great test for this Northern Mexico crew. Then you've got Wayland Baptist. We've talked about them. They're going to be a very good team next year. We have Eastern Oregon, College of Idaho. You go down a little bit more, you've got Benedict University Mesa. This team is set up to have a very good non-conference slate, and in their first conference game, if I'm reading this correctly, will be January 15th, and then there'll be non-conferences all the way through the season. Again, you're looking at a team that possibly is going to have almost half of their schedule done by the time they get to the conference. You again, depending on where you fall on that coin, you're looking at that like that's great. That's awesome. You're going to have some of these top teams that are going to be ranked, that are going to be national contender teams when the tournament comes around on your schedule already. Let's go for it. This team should be expecting a lot from themselves from this first year, and I think they are. Even with the new coach, even with possibly losing a lot of their core, they're going to be having a great year, and I'm all here for it. But now that will do it for the end of our Cal Pac preview, bringing us up to our way too early tiers for those who don't know it or aren't used to it. And I know I'm saving it for the end, but I knew it was going to be a pretty quick preview. Housekeeping rules. We don't know everybody is coming back, and that is an extreme double underline, bold, italicize it, whatever you want to say, highlighted for this conference.
46 font.
We don't know what happened, but we are going to do our best. Put some projections in there, some predictions. That's what we did. We're gonna go to our tiers, breaking it down. Contenders, playoff locks at the door, break right. In terms of Darlex language, your tattoos are your contenders. Teams we feel like they're going to be contenders for the conference championship or the regular season championship, or both in some cases. Playoff locks, those are gonna be your Sharpies. The teams we feel will be in the postseason. At the door, we've got pen, but erasable pen, because we feel like they could be in there. Like we're comfortable, but we're not that comfortable. But we're comfortable though. And then we have our pencil without lead. I think you said it was.
Pencils with no lead.
Those are your break rights, and we all know out there, especially for your mechanical pencils. Oh, when you hate there was no lead, those were the worst. That was the worst. But we're gonna start at the bottom there. I think we don't have the same team there because we could have either one of these two teams. I know it's one of the two teams, so I would just do the same thing. On the count of three, we're going to pick who we have in our break right. 1, 2, 3. Pacific Union.
Stanton.
I knew we were going to be different on there. To be fair, I do have Stanton at the door. I have them above. Do you have Pacific Union at the door as well?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the same idea. We just went different ways. Talk to me about why you went Pacific Union at the door.
I feel like Pacific Union has a lot more of a certainty on paper as far as what they can do. And with it being Stanton's first year in the NIA and having no visible stats to look at, what we have to go off of is little to nothing.
And with that same reason, I went the opposite. Because it's their first year and we don't know what to expect, I said, you know what? I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's also because I'm looking at that Pacific Union roster, and more so kind of like Stanton. I don't know. Like, yes, on paper, they're bringing the better talented team, where I'm not going to agree. If I knew that even two or even one of those players that are under our returning tier that we don't know are coming back, I would have gone Pacific Union hands down, no question about it. But I don't know. So I'm going to give Stanton the benefit of the doubt, but we both agree that they are the two teams that will probably or most likely be missing the postseason. We'll see if we're wrong, but as of right now, that's where him and I stand. Now we go to the top four. Let's go playoff locks here. Who is your number 4 seed? Who just makes the postseason next year for you in the Cal Pac?
Westcliff.
All right, so far in my opinion, we're hitting the money right on the nail, because we both knew Stanton and Pacific Union would be out. I have Westcliff as my number 4. I don't think we need to talk about it too much. I think they have the potential. Again, if they're a really good three-point shooting team and they take advantage of that, they could be a really, really tough out in the postseason and maybe even get a little bit higher in the standings if everything falls right. This next one, who do you have as your number 3, getting a playoff lock team that we are comfortable now they're going to make the postseason?
Cal Maritime.
Cal Maritime is the correct answer. So far, we are hitting everything on the nail, in my opinion. Cal Maritime is more comfortable than Westcliff for sure. I think Cal Maritime has the ability to improve. I do think, like I mentioned, they're to me a little closer to the top than they are to the bottom. how much of a gap are you giving between Cal Maritime and Westcliff? What is that gap? Is it a canyon? Is it a little baby jump? What is the gap that you're giving that distance?
I'm giving it a jumping board kind of gap.
A jumping board kind of gap?
Yes. Like it's not like a little leap, but it's not anything.
Oh, okay. So you're saying you would need a jumping board to get across to the other side?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I thought you meant the length of a jumping board. I'm like, that's not that far. Okay, talk to me a little bit. So what is it about that distance that makes you want to get a jumping board?
I think that Westcliff, with what they're losing, and for them statistically to already lose the battle to Cal Maritime based off of what last year provided, with what they're losing, I have a hard time predicting that they'll be able to jump where Cal Maritime is and kind of even that out. Yes, Westcliff is a better defending team. We can all admit that. But I'm going to change my sentence that I just said there to clarify the emphasis of what I'm saying. Westcliff was a better defensive team. We don't know if they'll be able to maintain that.
I like it. I like where you're coming from, and I think again the board that we're talking about is the 3-point shooting. If Westcliff gets that 3-point shooting, because I feel like for whatever reason, Lex and I have that feeling that they could be the team that really finds a niche from the 3-point line. Don't know why. Sometimes it's just a gut feeling, and we're going to go with our gut feeling. But I do think those two teams will be playoff teams. Could be interchangeable, but we're kind of confident saying 3-4 in Cal Maritime and Westcliff. This is where I think you and I will differ. I do think you and I are going to be a little different here. The number 1 seed. We're going to go right to number 1. Give me your team on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Simpson. Ooh, I didn't think you were going to do it, dog. I'm going to be honest with you.
Honestly, in that moment, I said Simpson just because it felt right. But before we even asked that question, I was not going that direction.
And honestly, I'm not mad at it. Now, I'll ask you this. Like, obviously, you and I both have Northern New Mexico as the 2 seed. You said a jumping board for 3-4. What's the distance between 1 and 2?
Flip of a coin.
Flip of a coin is I'm with it. The distance of a dime, even if you want to say. I do think these two teams can be interchangeable more than 3 and 4. I think these two teams are going to be two of the teams that we look at and say they're going to be jockeying back and forth. What makes you say Northern Mexico is the number 1 seed? If I tell you, if I were to go back in time to today, right, and I sat here as a guest on our own podcast, and I told the both of us, Northern New Mexico ended up winning the Cal Pac regular season championship. They were the number 1 seed. Not the tournament, just the regular season. What do you think would be my next phrase as to why? What would my reason be when I tell you that?
They brought the same mindset that they used in the CAC, playing in that conference, into this Cal Pac conference, and that was their focal point in leading themselves to the top. The CAC provided a little bit more competitiveness based off of what we see statistically, and with that, coming into a conference where the competition statistically may not be that hardcore on paper, I'm sure I'm sure the Cal Pac is a very tough conference to play in nonetheless. But on paper, going into the Cal Pac and seeing that statistically you can tower over these teams, I feel like they used the same guidelines that they used to beat teams in the CAC, brought into the Cal Pac and dominated. And that is how they reached the top.
I think the numbers back that up because, like you mentioned, they put up 70 last year in the CAC, and they weren't necessarily one of the better CAC teams. They were a very good team for sure. We haven't done the CAC just yet, so Lex and I, we're going to be honest here, we haven't deep dive into it, but just getting knowledge, kind of knowing and listening to what people are talking about. If they have like Lex likes to say, if they have the same exact season, they're the number 1 team in offense, and by a lot. So yeah. I do think both of us went Simpson. I went Simpson simply more on the side of there is an opening at number 1, and they were already number 3 last year, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I do think
it's the emotional side of you.
It is, absolutely. But I do think the logical side of me, the Lex side of me, I don't think it's crazy for me to say Simpson is chasing Northern New Mexico because of the stats. Simpson put up 62 points per game last year, almost 62 exactly, 62.1. Northern New Mexico put up 70, and I mean literally exactly 70 points per game. They were an 8-point per game better team last year. In my mind, you are chasing that. Because if you want to be the number one team in the Cal Pac, you're going to have to put up 70. Because if you don't, Northern New Mexico can do that. They've proven to do that. Now, again, like you mentioned, it's a little bit different in the Cal Pac. How will things adjust? We will see. But the baseline is the baseline. And the baseline is Northern New Mexico can put up points. Can Simpson do that is the question. I think they can. I think you think they can. And so we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
100%.
But like Lex said, the distances, there is some flip of a coin, some 50-50, some things got to bounce their way that I'm kind of keeping an eye on. So when those two teams play, I'm going to be interested, especially that first time around, to see what kind of goes 100%.
Down. The way that I see Simpson coming out on top is if they can bring themselves to a similarity with their opponent's points per game, as in they can drop from 61.5 to under 60. I think they clinch their top spot. Just because Northern New Mexico has proven to hold teams under 60 in the CAC. Completely different group of teams that they're playing at a more frequent rate because there's more of them. So if Simpson can even out their stat line with Northern New Mexico within this first year, Simpson has it because they've had the experience in this conference. They know who they're going up against. If not, then it's Northern New Mexico.
It's going to be a coin toss, and Lex and I are going to be very, very excited to cover it. And that will do it for the Cal Pac for episode 11, part 7. Lex, we have 3 parts left. It's crazy to think about it, but we have 3 parts left. We have 6 conferences left. It's going to be here before we know it. And then we're going to start actually doing episodes on real life basketball. And I'm so excited to do that with you, my friend. For the next episode, for people so that they kind of have an idea, Lex will only be on for half of the episode. He will actually be previewing the CAC with me. And then I will be bringing back on Coach Caleb, and he will be doing the CCAC because obviously he is a coach in that conference. So I thought it'd be a great, and he obviously wanted to be able to talk a little bit about it and give it its just due, because even though Lex and I think we were doing a pretty decent job. I know some people out there are not going to agree with what we have to talk about, but that's part of the reason we're doing this. I think we've done a pretty good job at giving a good picture for all these teams, especially first time for us. Like we're doing this more as fans than anything else. We're learning, we're going about it, so we don't 100%. Go into the season completely oblivious to what's going on and kind of what are we looking at and what are we doing here. But that is going to do it for this episode. We appreciate you guys have been with us the entire time. If you haven't, don't worry, we still appreciate you as well. If you came from us from the Red River, we appreciate you for sure. If you're just joining us for the Cal Pac, we really appreciate you too. Don't worry about it. We love you guys just as much. But make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and go follow us on all our socials, Twitter, Instagram. Things are going to start popping as we get closer to the season. And I already got some coach interviews in the works to try and get ready, because technically these conference previews will end 2 weeks before the regular season starts. I don't want to leave you guys hanging those 2 weeks. So we're going to try and get some content for you guys to be ready to get things going. But until then, we hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.